touched me.
This video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe and help get this video to 4,000 likes. Arnold's neighborhood is preparing for the annual cheese festival. Helga and Phoebe are getting into the spirit of things as they try to find their true love by looking through a piece of Swiss cheese, which is a sentence I'd never thought I'd have to say on this channel. Helga's raging tsundere is on full display, as it turns out her kudere only has eyes for basic brunettes.
That little yellow-haired runt!
Hey, there's no need for that kind of talk. Oh, you said runt. Helga proceeds to dump her emotional baggage on Phoebe.
Not that I care, but what's she got that I haven't got?
Manners, charm, and 2 eyebrows. Arnold tries to ask the radiant Ruth to be his date to the festival when she disappears into thin air. He decides on a whim that Ruth is the love of his life and plans to kiss her at the carnival. How romantic. Helga decides to sabotage Arnold's plan so she can have the fair-haired football head all to herself. How romantic. That night at the carnival, Arnold drives Gerald crazy as he spends hours practicing his opening line, only to panic the second Ruth shows up. Meanwhile, Helga prepares to commence Operation Ruthless,
in which we will target and destroy a certain 6th grade so-and-so.
Wait, Ruth's in 6th grade? Arnold, she's like 3 years older than you, my guy. I don't care if you like her. No girl wants to date a cougar hunter. Arnold finally works up the nerve to talk to Ruth, when Helga knocks him on his ass.
Oh, how clumsy of you.
Arnold next follows Ruth into the Hall of Mirrors. Helga chases after him, while Gerald and Phoebe have their own little meet-cute. Arnold's plan once again gets ruined by Helga, who struggles to keep her primal urges at bay.
Touched me.
Could you do that like 50 more times? Helga next tries to kill Ruth by trapping her in a faulty bumper car. She accidentally traps herself in the faulty car, and her vehicular assault scheme goes off the rails. Literally. The kids next go to the Tunnel of Love, where boys and girls are randomly paired together on the ride. What could possibly go wrong?
I don't want to go in the Tunnel of Love with you, Rhonda. Help! Let me go! Let me go!
Yikes. Arnold tries to fix the line so Ruth will have to sit with him, which is a healthy mindset for any budding relationship. Helga tries to cut the line and ends up creating another panic. The line falls to shit as neither Arnold nor Helga gets to ride with the person they want. Helga takes out her anger on this helpless mouth breather, while Gerald and Phoebe hit it off.
That's when we hit the wiener stand. Wow. Are you okay? I'm okay now.
The carnival is over, and Arnold has failed to say a single word to his doomed crush.
The challenge just makes me like her even more.
Arnold, you can't be saying shit like that. Helga delights at Arnold's failure, but quickly shuts her trap when she sees Gerald and Phoebe heading home together hand in hand. And you know what? Good for them. They've had to put up with Arnold and Helga's crap all night. They deserve a bit of peace and happiness.
They're adorable and deserve all the happiness!
Helga wallows in her own misery as the carnival goes dark around her, which is a great visual metaphor, but I'm pretty sure there were still people on the Ferris wheel. How are they supposed to get off the ride now? Let's review. Helga spent the whole episode trying to destroy Arnold's crush. Even though Arnold has never said a single word to the girl, Helga destroyed half the rides at the carnival and nearly got herself killed in a vain attempt to keep Arnold to herself, which feels rather pointless considering how Arnold was never going to muster up the courage to talk to Ruth in the first place. And even when her scheme technically succeeded, she was left with the sobering truth that she's the one person responsible for her own loneliness and misery. But that's still not as bad as the time Helga ruined her best friend's sleepover. Rhonda invites every girl at school to her slumber party, except for Helga. Helga chews out her lackey for wanting to go to the party without her and ditches her to choke on candy wrappers. Meanwhile, the guys are in the middle of a ballgame when Helga jumps in to hog the limelight. Harold tells her to get lost, as they're having a boys-only game, which seems kinda iffy in hindsight. The boys tease Helga for not getting invited to Rhonda's party, and accuse her of not being a girl. Helga snaps and nearly beats the shit out of Harold.
Come back here,
I almost feel sorry for her. The key word there is almost.
Helga goes to spy on the slumber party and finds all her friends are having fun without her and are laughing at her behind her back.
That too, Phoebe?
How did the writers discover my worst nightmare? This leads Helga on a futile quest to make herself more feminine. She tries to covertly buy a preteen magazine, only to get outed by the store clerk.
How much for this copy of Preteen Miss. You know, the one with the feature on how to make ugly girls pretty.
Helga runs home and locks herself in the bathroom. She then spends 3 hours trying to make herself look more girly, 2 of which are spent taking a weed whacker to her unibrow. She steals her mom's makeup and ends up going full Medusa on the poor woman. Helga shows up to the party dressed as Doris Day if she charged by the hour.
Rhonda, darling, great to see ya.
She barges in and somehow doesn't get her ass laughed out of the room.
Helga, you look great.
Bullshit. We all know these girls would gang up on Helga in 2 seconds. I don't care if it's just a cartoon. Girls are mean. Helga keeps up the charade and teaches the other girls how to accessorize for their next QV. Meanwhile, the boys decide to crash the girls' slumber party after finding out about Helga's makeover.
Helga, like a girl? This I gotta see.
Hey, that's no reason to waste a perfectly good falafel. Back at the party, Phoebe confronts Helga for acting faker than her boobs. Helga tells her to stuff it and accuses her of being jealous of her newfound popularity.
I like the old Helga better. At least she was honest.
Wrong and double wrong. Helga is about to get an avocado facial when she suddenly decides she has morals.
We don't have wrinkles. We're 9 years old. I'm not like the rest of you. I'm not wearing a mask.
Damn, Helga, preach. Helga stands up to the other girls and says they shouldn't be obsessed with their looks or trying to be girly girls, which is a weird message to come from the same girl who voices Ashley B on Recess.
That was so scandalous.
Can someone commission me to review that show? Just then, the girls find the boys spying on them and chase down Harold in the streets.
Should we go back and help him? It's every man for himself.
They drag the poor bastard inside and dress him up as a girl, because according to the 90s, there's nothing more humiliating than forcing a boy to wear makeup. Let's review. Helga was butthurt she didn't get invited to a slumber party, and took out her anger on her quote-unquote friends. She decided to change her entire appearance and personality in a vain attempt to fit in with the popular girls. She shunned her best friend in favor of being a poser, and only reverted to her old self when she remembered she liked being a brutish bully, and tortured a boy to prove her point. But that's still not as bad as the time Helga pretended to disappear off the face of the earth. Helga gets an invitation to Arnold's magic show, and the prepubescent Pain is eager for him to cast a spell on her heart. Helga is so blinded by her own affections that she ditches her father's birthday party to go to the show. She barges in late and chews out Phoebe for not saving her a seat.
I can't believe you. You can't even save me a seat. You do everything wrong, Phoebe. Everything.
Fuck you. You don't deserve someone as great as Phoebe. The show begins, and Helga kicks Harold's ass just so she can get a better seat. Man, Harold really is the punching bag for this show. Arnold is off to a rocky start, as he deals with faulty tricks and relentless heckles from the crowd.
What else you got in your repertoire, football head?
Arnold skips to the main event and says he'll make someone disappear on stage. The audience volunteers Helga for the trick. Shocker.
Make Helga disappear! Make Helga disappear!
Helga bitches and moans all the way to the stage when Arnold tells her to shut up and play along. The trick is a success, and Arnold finally wins over the audience. Helga decides to ruin the show and sneaks away before Arnold can reverse the trick. Helga watches with glee as Arnold fumbles the finishing act. She fantasizes about Arnold getting arrested for her disappearance, while the rest of the world falls into chaos and mourning trying to find her, which is clearly every little girl's fantasy. Helga is so full of herself that she blindly runs face first into a street lamp.
They'll all miss me. They'll all...
Could you do that like 50 more times? The dim-witted do-nothing wakes up to find that nobody can see her.
If I'm a ghost, I can fly.
Turns out the town is having a parade to celebrate Helga's disappearance. Helga is somehow surprised people would be happy about her mysterious absence. She rushes home to see if her parents miss her, only to find they've turned her room into their new shag pad.
Gross.
She next goes to find Phoebe, who's replaced her with a new best friend who actually cares about her feelings. Helga starts to lose her mind as she realizes the world is better off without her.
I never knew people didn't like me.
How? It's not like they were keeping it a secret. Things really sink in when Helga sees Arnold on Johnny Carson with his new fiancée, Ruth, because clearly the two had so much chemistry. Surprise, surprise, it turns out the whole thing was just a dream. Who could have seen that coming? Helga realizes she should stop being a jerk and goes to apologize to her family and friends. She saves Arnold's show and attempts to apologize to everyone in the crowd, who apparently care way more about free soda. Helga next attempts to apologize to Arnold, but chickens out at the last second and goes right back to insulting him, because the status quo is God. Let's review. Helga ditched her father's birthday party to go to a half-baked magic show just so she could bully her crush. She yelled at her best friend and ruined Arnold's magic trick. She went missing on purpose in hopes everyone would miss her, only to realize the world would be much happier without her. She only learned her lesson through a concussion-induced epiphany where she realized that no one mourns the wicked. And even when she tried to apologize, it turned out she had already burned too many bridges and defaulted to her old bitchy ways. Helga can go straight to hell. Is there a cartoon you want me to talk about? Patrons who join my $10 tier can pick which shows I cover on It's Just a Cartoon. There's a limited number of slots available, so sign up now.